Oftentimes in the comics, the future is made up to be a dystopian landscape filled with tragedy and apocalyptic settings. But a lot of the time, the future also brings some pretty impressive superheroes, ones that are otherwise overshadowed by their bleak environments. So I decided to take a look at some of these superheroes and see if we can rank them based on power. At number 10, we've got Punisher 2099. In the future, Jake Gallows takes on the mantle of Punisher, and he makes for a pretty impressive version of the anti-hero. Being a former member of the Church of Thor, he takes on a role as a sort of bodyguard for hire, while also functioning as a police officer under President Doom's regime. He's driven by vengeance after his mother, brother, and sister-in-law are all killed by Kron Stone, and eventually ends the man's murderous streak himself, which is a pretty impressive demonstration of his power on its own. This futuristic Punisher shows some really advanced fighting skill as well, and gains even better stats after he's given a bionic arm. He's also able to blend in very well due to a face scrambler he uses to avoid detection. At number 9, we have Captain America 2099, and I'll be focusing on Roberta Mendez since there are a few versions of the hero in this storyline. This version of Captain America is created by Alchemax, a corporation in the future that forces Roberta to take the super soldier serum and gain her powers. Roberta's Captain America becomes the leader of Alchemax's Avengers and has virtually the same abilities as the present day's Cap, although she naturally doesn't have as much experience as Steve Rogers due to her younger age. She also can't control when she turns into Captain America, only making the switch when she hears trigger words such as assemble to turn into Cap and dismissed to turn back to Roberta. But despite her shortcomings, she's still a really competent Captain America and ranks as one of the more powerful heroes from the future. At number 8, we have Bishop. Bishop is introduced in the Days of Future Past storyline as a member of the X-Men. In this futuristic world, Sentinels have enslaved Earth, and Bishop along with the rest of the X-Men make it their task to fight back. Well, okay, it's not really the X-Men, it's actually called Xavier's Security Enforcers, and is known to be a futuristic organization which is kind of a successor to the X-Men. Anyway, most of Bishop's influence comes when he travels back in time and uses his foresight of the grim future to try and alter his timeline and stop the Sentinels from taking over. He has the impressive ability to absorb any energy around him, including light, magic, or psionic energy, and charge up his own attack, as well as a healing factor and naturally extremely efficient time travel. Much like Punisher 2099, Bishop also has a bionic arm which heightens his fighting and strength abilities. At number 7 is Iron Lad. Nathaniel Richards is a very powerful younger iteration of Iron Man from Earth 6311, and one of the biggest discrepancies between his suit and that of Earth 616, Tony Stark's, is that it allows him to travel through time. As the leader of the Young Avengers, Nate Richards isn't just some guy who gets his hand on an Iron Man suit. He's actually a teenage version of Kang the Conqueror, before his days as one of the most powerful villains in the game. Iron Lad has a pretty good power set as well, with neurokinetic armor which is made from a rare alloy from the 40th century. The armor actually listens to the wearer's subconscious thoughts and basically offers them superhuman abilities based on what they need in any given situation. Iron Lad also has a time-traveling spaceship which is pretty dang cool on its own and offers its own form of power to the futuristic hero. At number 6 is Hulk 2099. This version of the giant green beast shows similar abilities to the Hulk we know from the present, but instead of Bruce Banner, the conduit of the Hulk persona in this timeline is John Eisenhart. Eisenhart is a studio executive who studies the story of the original 616 Hulk, who by John's era has been dead for some time. During a conflict with a group of Hulk worshippers called the Knights of Banner, John is caught in a gamma bomb explosion and turned into the Hulk himself. Just like the present day Hulk, his skin is bulletproof, he naturally has a huge increase of strength in Hulk form, but the most impressive advantage this Hulk has over the original is that he keeps his full intelligence and personality while turned. Not only that, but John can transform into the Hulk at will. As we all know, this offers a huge boost of power, basically taking out the main drawback for the present day Earth 616 Hulk. At number 5, we have Impulse. Bart Allen is the grandson of the original Flash, Barry Allen, and he inherits all of his super speed abilities. But this futuristic speedster faces a challenge that his grandfather never had to, which is a sped up metabolism. This ages Bart Allen at an extreme speed, making him age to 12 years old while only being 2 years old chronologically. Luckily, Bart travels back in time, a trend I'm noticing with these futuristic heroes, and teams up with his cousin Wally West to normalize stabilize his metabolism. He then takes up the mantle of Impulse due to his impulsive personality and carries on a similar power set to any of the other Speed Force conduits, with super speed, accelerated healing, and electrokinesis. But Bart has some powers unique to him as well, like a photographic memory, increased hand-to-hand combat, and mechanical aptitude. At number 4, I'm putting Batman Beyond. The only character on this list who was first introduced in his own animated series outside of the comics, Batman Beyond is one of the longtime favorites of many Batman fans. This version of Batman hails from a cyberpunk future where he is portrayed as a younger Batman predecessor, wearing an extremely advanced batsuit that offers the wearer superhuman abilities. He can see and hear through walls, has super strength, speed, and reflexes, and most impressively of all, Terry McGinnis's Batman can fly. Not glide, fly. But I'm sure you knew that already. With some fans online calling this Batman a mix between Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Batman, there's no question that this futuristic version of the hero we know and love deserves a spot on this list. At number 3, we have Spider-Man 2099. This version of Spider-Man is donned by Miguel O'Hara, who intentionally researches a way to turn himself into Spider-Man using technology and DNA enhancement. He succeeds and gains all the powers that present-day Spider-Man has, and more. This version of Spider-Man also gives himself a couple added bonuses of increased vision and hearing, as well as his signature talons and fangs that he gains through his genetic mutation. With these extra powers, there's no debating whether or not this futuristic version of the hero is more powerful than our present-day Spider-Man. When he gets stuck in the present day, Spider-Man 2099 becomes one of the most powerful and coolest looking, in my opinion, superheroes in the world. This is one of the most impressive futuristic heroes to come out of the 2099 storyline, and he's probably the one who's lasted the longest so far as well. At number 2 is Thor 2099. In the future, there is an entire religion based on the mythos of the superhero and god of thunder Thor. Similarly to the Hulk, who also has his own religion. I guess that's kind of a thing in the future. And Cecil McAdams is one of the priests at the Thorite Church who is chosen by the CEO of Alchemax to become one of the few people to be given the power of Thor himself. Not only this, but McAdams and the others who are part of this experiment are then brainwashed into thinking they're the real deal, making Cecil's drive and passion as the hero about as similar to the real thing as his powers are. But McAdams is the one out of all the test subjects who shines out of all of them and basically becomes a version of Thor that has the same power set as the modern day God of Thunder. And considering how powerful Thor is in the present day, there's no question that any hero from the future that carries the mantle would end up high on the list. At number 1, the final entry on our list is the most well-known time-traveling hero of them all, Cable. This guy deserves the top spot on the list because he is one of the most high-powered time-traveling heroes in any comic. There are definitely some OP time-traveling villains out there, but this guy takes the cake for the good guys. Son of Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, and Jean Grey, Cable has greatness and power in his genes. Transported to the future when he was just a baby, Cable goes through a series of hardships in what is known to be a pretty bleak future, and returns to the present infected with a techno-organic virus. This virus turns him into a cyborg-like being that has increased strength on top of his already formidable telepathic and telekinetic abilities. With such a dynamic power set, and I didn't even touch on most of it to keep this video short, Cable is the perfect hero to have leading the charge for a better future. He is often in positions of leadership given his foresight into the future and his time-traveling abilities, and often leads some of the present day's most influential and powerful heroes into battle. He is usually seen as a prophet who takes on the impossible task of changing the outcome of the future for the better of humankind. And with everything he brings to the table, he has to be considered one of the most powerful and impressive superheroes to ever come from the future. Alright, that's the list for today. Let's have a chat in the comments. Did you agree with my list? Is there anyone I left out? Don't worry, there's always room for a part 2. Leave a like if you'd like to see a second part, and subscribe if you aren't already. This has been Top 10 Nerd. I've been your host, Ben Ball. I'll see you on the next one.